Hello, this is Andy Reistetter on Andy's Golf and Travel Diary here in the low country of Hilton Head Island with Mr. Jim Feree, and we're actually in the Jim Feree room here at Long Cove Club. Jim, it's awesome to be here with you.
Thank you, Andy. It's good to be here on such a lovely day, isn't it?
Before we get to your senior tour golfing days, tell me, how did you come to the game of golf?
My father was a golf pro. I grew up in Pinehurst, North Carolina, and that will get you into golf.
Now, how did your father, who I believe his name was Purvis, how did he come to golf?
He lived in a little town called Aberdeen, North Carolina, that's 3 miles from Pinehurst. And my father was a very good athlete, and he took that up along with baseball. He was a real good baseball player.
So tell me a little bit about your amateur golfing career and your transition to becoming a professional.
There wasn't much to an amateur career back then. The war was going on. You know, the war didn't get over till 1946, and I was 15 years old, so junior golf tournaments were just, that wasn't going on because nobody had any gas to go. They weren't making golf clubs, they weren't making golf balls. It was, but like I say, I didn't have anything else to do, so that's what we did.
Right.
All of us went out to the golf course and played. We had a high school golf team that was very good, and we'd had kids on our golf team that had gone to Duke and North Carolina, and when it got time to pick a school to go to, I decided to go to North Carolina instead of Duke. Hallelujah.
And when you left Chapel Hill, where did you first head?
I went to the Army. I went to Fort Jackson for a couple of years in Columbia, South Carolina.
So your father's name was Purvis, and
Yes.
your first name is Purvis.
Purvis Jennings Feree Jr.
Where does the Jim come from?
She said his name isn't Jim, his name is Purvis Feree Jennings Jr. He said, no, it's Jim. And that's all I was ever called, it's Jim.
But somehow you went from the Army to Vancouver in 1958 and won a golf tournament up there.
And I never, ever considered being a golf pro. My dad didn't want me to be a golf pro. When I was in high school and college and the Army, my dad was the pro at Old Town Club, and it was a very wealthy club, and there was a member out there named Malcolm McLean. And one day my dad said, Jim, how would you like to play on the PGA Tour? I said, I never thought about it. Why? He said, well, Mr. McLean thinks you are really playing well, and he would like to sponsor you on the tour. And I said, well, I thought I was going to work for you. Why was I going to class? He said, well, you just need to go talk to Mr. McLean and see what he says. And I went and talked to him. And he said, well, how old are you now, Jim? I said, I'm 24. And he said, well, I'd be happy to sponsor you for 3 years on the tour. Or if you want to quit after 1 year, whatever you want to do. But I think you should go do it because you're really playing well. I think if you don't do it, you'll regret it someday. You'll see all these friends of yours out there playing and having fun. You're working your butt off in an office. It was not my dream. So I went back home. I said, Daddy, you've been a good player a long time. You know everybody plays and what. Am I good enough to play on the tour? He said, yeah. I said, well, okay. He said, I'll go play. Because Mr. McLean said, Jim, if you go out there and you play for 3 years and don't like it, can't make it, says you'll be 27 or 8. And then if you work for 25 years, you'll be, isn't that long enough to work?
Did it turn into your dream?
Huh?
Did it turn into your dream to play on the tour?
I liked it. It's really good. And the only thing I've ever had that's worse than the shingles is I got the yips in 1965. And so I quit in December of '66. And I could play better than I could ever play, but I could play the best I could ever play, but all I could shoot was a 71 or a 72, you know, but it was painful. I quit, and well, I got rid of them when I started putting with a long putter.
How did you come to Long Cove Club?
I got off the tour in '66. I worked as the director of golf and head pro at Savannah and Country Club, which is a Rhode Island rice course that I really got to like this low country very much. I decided I'd come to Hilton because I'd come over here a couple of times. They just opened CPAS. I could talk about whether Hilton Head was ready for a private club. This piece of property, some people had owned it and they were going to build a golf course on it. They had come out and laid out a course, and actually they had cut a bunch of the corridors and stuff, but it fell through. Indianapolis, the CP, went over to their house and had dinner and talked to his wife about doing it, promised him he was going to get paid, everything was all right. So he consented to do it. Being involved in the whole thing, I was walking the course with Pete in the woods and all that kind of stuff. And then Joe hired me to be the director of golf and still allowed me to keep my job in Pittsburgh and play the senior tour. And my wife Karen at that time was working in Pittsburgh as an assistant pro. And she had tried to get on the tour a couple of times and missed it. And I said to her, Karen, why don't you apply for the job at Long Cove? He said, you know, that Karen is way better than any of these boys I've interviewed. She's way ahead of them in every facet of the deal. He said, I want to hire her. I said, and he did it. And she came down here and she ran this thing. I mean, she is, I wouldn't work for her, I'll tell you that. She ran the show magnificently.
So literally there was only two head professionals here?
Karen and Bobby. All that time. And
quite a legacy here.
Yeah, and this has been a lovely place, a lovely place.